Why, hello there. Welcome to this very special, extra luso episode of Driving with Jonny. I'm your host, Jonny, and this is the all-new 2026 Mercedes-Maybach SL 680 Monogram Edition. Now, there might be many answers to many questions about this car, but the only one that matters is, do you really love the Maybach logo? Because if you do, I'm standing next to your next car.
Driving with Jonny!
Hi there. I want to talk to you about BetterHelp, the sponsor of today's video. I never thought I needed therapy. Straight up, I weirdly assumed that it was for other people, not me. And then a few years ago, I lost 5 people who were hugely important to me in rapid succession. And instead of dealing with it, I bottled it up and I found myself in a very bad, a very angry, very dark place. I was walking around with my fists clenched and my jaws clenched, and it just wasn't me. And then my wife noticed, and she told me that she didn't marry an angry guy. I was lucky. I was able to get myself into therapy, and it really, truly helped. My anger at the hand I'd been dealt, it went away, and I got the old me back. Instead of spending my days angry, I was once again able to spend them, thinking about, cars and watches. And BetterHelp can help you achieve the same thing by matching you up with a therapist that's right for you. All you have to do is visit betterhelp.com/drivingwithjonny, which you'll find down below in the description or right here on the screen, and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Remember, therapy isn't for the weak. It's for anyone who wants to become stronger. Once again, that's betterhelp.com/drivingwithjonny for 10% off your first month of therapy.
So if we want to understand why this car is quite literally festooned with Maybach logos, I think it helps to understand what the hell is Maybach, right? And we can get into the origin story, but what you need to know is 20 years ago or so, BMW suddenly owned Rolls-Royce, and the Volkswagen Group had Bentley, and Mercedes they had nothing. And so they wanted to compete in the ultra luxury space. So they brought back Maybach, which was a pre-war fancy schmancy German car brand. Didn't really mean much to a lot of people. Cars were incredible, but they were kind of over-engineered, as Mercedes used to really like to do. And they cost as much as a Rolls-Royce. They were probably much better than a Rolls-Royce, but people were like, well, for $400,000, I could have a Rolls-Royce, or I could have a Maybach? I don't even know what that is. I've never heard of it. The brand meant nothing. And didn't do well, cars didn't sell, and they had to sunset the brand. But if the sun goes up, no, the sun goes down, it rises in the morning. So Maybach came back, and now you have Mercedes-Benz, you have Mercedes-AMG, and you have Mercedes-Maybach. So it's now a sub-brand, not a separate brand, of Mercedes-Benz. They're not really worried about making the cars mechanically different from each other. For instance, 4-liter twin-turbo V8, 577 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. I have said 577 to 590 so many times in regards to this particular engine. It's just a Mercedes engine, AMG engine, actually. But what they're really trying to do is distinguish it on design and really, I would argue, fashion. If you look down here, you can see there's a whole bunch of Maybach logos that kind of make up the underside of the grille, the mouth, if you will. We first saw this, I want to say, with the electric Maybach SUV. They kind of like a Yves Saint Laurent little logos. They kind of festooned the air intake just a little bit at first. Well, now they went crazy down there. They went even crazier here. I mean, I was going to do this thing where I was going to actually sit there and count the number of Maybach logos that appear on this car. And then I realized, I don't care. If you care, count it yourself. But there's a lot. This is covered in them. This is covered in them. The door sills are covered in them. I found one in the trunk, the headlights, everywhere. Everywhere you look, there's the Maybach logo. Weirdly, they have the 3-pointed star up front. I would have gone with a Maybach logo. I'm sure it's a dealer option. I'm sure. Go nuts. Tons of bright work all over this car to separate it from lesser SLs. It's got this little center stripe there, which is very cool. The wheels, these might actually be my favorite wheels ever on a production vehicle. They're just fantastic. They're like concave monoblocks. It's amazing. 21 inches, perfect. This little fender sill right there is in metal. Look at this. Like, if you hate the Cybertruck, here's some unpainted metal for you. But it's the right amount. It looks great. The exterior, I forget the name of the paint, but the package, which comes with, I think, these wheels and this bright work, is called Red Ambiance. The hood is black obsidian. The interior is white ambiance. Maybe would have gone with a different name there, but that's just me. You can see the bright work continues down on the sill. Yes, it's bling. Yes, it's for a certain audience, maybe one that might have a license plate that reads KARDSHN, something like that. But you know what? That's fine, because I gotta say, I really like the way this thing looks. And if I could option it, maybe like a couple, logo deletes, black top, black hood. I think we're in business, baby. They left part of the roof exposed when it's down, so you can still see the Maybach logos, because, otherwise, you wouldn't know what you're driving. Like, I accidentally climbed into my Bentley, but now I know. I am positive, without a shadow of a doubt, I'm driving my Maybach. Ha ha ha! Come on, good sir, let's go slash some jobs. Ha 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 ha! I mean, I still love this car, but come on. Oh, look, Maybach. I'm pretty sure it's a Maybach. Are you seeing this? Maybach logo. What if you wanted to take the Bentley? I don't know. Yeah, so this is the inside. And again, it looks a lot like an SL. This is white ambiance, so they just made the white trim. It's all leather. It's just everywhere. Everything is white leather. I don't know. You'd have to have like a pair of shoes that live on a piece of paper that you take off your other shoes before you get in and drive, because these shoes aren't particularly dirty. And this was the purest white when it showed up in my house. And just like 5 days of living with the car has already turned them like gray. I feel so bad. And just getting in and out, I've scuffed the leather. It's horrible. I feel awful. Sorry, Mercedes-Maybach. This is going to be hard, but like Maybach logos, there's two more. There's one above the speedometer, one above the tack. And then if you put the screen like this, there's a like Mars landscape of Maybach logos back here. I don't know if you can see that, but it's a Maybach. I've never been more certain about any other car than I have about this. 100%, this is a Maybach. Oh my God, look at this. When you turn the car off, there's more Maybach logos. So yes, it's quite posh. This has as much leather as any vehicle I've ever driven. The leather goes all the way down to your feet, and it's white leather, which is insane. It's just going to be permanently filthy. We've talked about that. What is it like to drive? Well, we should talk about the modes for a second. Like all Mercedes, it has comfort and sport. There's an individual mode, and there's also a Maybach mode, which puts the engine into Maybach and the suspension into Maybach. I don't know what it means. Bentley's had this for a while. They've had Bentley mode. I will say, compared to comfort, go to comfort for a second and just experience it. It's floatier in comfort. So I'm sure Maybach is just a middle setting between comfort and sport, but I really like it. First of all, it's got a diamond, it's Comfort Diamond instead of Comfort Plus. And then there are more Maybach logos buried on the screen. So once again, you see that trying to count the total number of Maybach logos on this vehicle would be a fool's errand. And if you're driving this car, sir, you are no fool. Madam, you are no fool. You might know some fools. You might have fools run up to you and say, wow, that thing's amazing. But you are maybe you're a fool. What do I know? Anyhow, yeah, well, it's my channel. I'll be totally honest. When they dropped this thing off, I was standing in my driveway laughing at it. And I honestly didn't want to drive it anywhere because, let's say they were Yves Saint Laurent logos. I'm not the type of person to walk around in clothes that look like that. Would I want to drive a car that looks like that? But I remember years and years ago, right after my son was born, so over 8 years ago, I had a G-Wagon, a G65, and it was an alien green. Remember the last run of G-Wagons of that old gen? They put in really fun colors, and it was just preposterous looking. And the first day I had it, people were looking at me as if I was a Kardashian. They were just like, they found my taste grotesque. And that's how I was reacting to this car. And then I started driving it, and look, paint job notwithstanding, this is a fine automobile, my friends. I like being in this car. Even though the white leather and white carpet has gotten filthy, it's quite nice. I like the white steering wheel, or the inside part of the steering wheel. It's a very hard car not to just enjoy. I've dropped the top. I've changed into more sporting clothing, which is just my usual black t-shirt and baseball hat. And I'm up on my favorite road, driving this Maybach around, and I'm quite happy. I really am. This is, in one way, this is what life's all about. How does it handle? We should get to that a little bit mechanically about the car. It's the new SL. The other SLs have a back seat. This is just covered up in white leather. It's the AMG. As far as I can tell, it's the AMG 63 motor. So 577 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. AMG 9-speed Shifttronic transmission. I believe it's all-wheel drive. Gosh, I should have checked. I could stop and check, but what's the difference? The biggest innovation, they got rid of the slidey thing to open the screen, or to have to hold down some plastic button. They put in a nice button to open the screen. It's real fast. It's on these 21-inch tires. I will say the Maybach mode rides rather well. So unlike Comfort, where when you do hit a road imperfection, it's so soft that it kind of does a couple bounces. This is like a one and a done, which I really like. There are some cars where it's just one and never done. Just it's a punch. This is, it absorbs it, but then it eats those frequencies away, so you don't have to experience anything too bad. So Maybach suspension is the way to go. It's adaptive suspension. It's just a nice car. The exhaust is not as shouty as an AMG, nor should it be. If I owned this car and, I had access to a road not unlike this one, it'd be fantastic because it's a great canyon cruiser. Not a canyon carver. It's not an AMG, but it is a canyon cruiser. And when you bury your right foot, you can get around the slow-moving car in front of you, as we just did. Cornering, pretty good. I mean, most people would find this car much more sporting than it needs be. Let me rephrase that. Most owners, I don't think they're ever going to do this with their Maybach, but you could. Actually, look, I can say this right now. This is the best driving Maybach of all time, because the other Maybachs are, gigantic V12 sedans with slow shifting transmissions, or SUVs, or pre-war cars. This is, boy, if the SL63 would have driven like this, I would not have disliked it as much as I did. I really like this thing. Yeah, again, handles better than any Maybach ever. Much better than I thought it would. I like this car even more now. Have I mentioned the wheels? The obvious question then becomes, well, what's the competitive set? What other cars are in the $234,000 neighborhood or thereabouts that I might want to spend my money on instead of this Maybach? And I think the obvious ones is obviously the Porsche Turbo S Cabriolet is going to be, well, much more powerful and quicker. It will struggle with the luxury. That will not. I like a Porsche Turbo S. I do. It's just not. There's no red and white ambiance in that one, or ambition, or whatever nonsense they're calling it. But similar price, similar function, and will have a backseat. Although I think, I don't know if they've announced it yet, but like on the the new 911s and 992.2s, backseats are always optional, so you could get it without a backseat. And I'm sure a Porsche exclusive or Sonderwunsch will let you cover everything in leather, even the seatless rear area. But maybe the Bentley Continental GT. It's more money. It's more car. Probably weighs more. Although this is probably, golly, the SL63. I want to say the non-hybrid one was like 4,800 pounds. This has to have 200 or 300 extra pounds of just leather inside of it, and higher quality leather. So this is probably a 5,000 pound car. Bentley's probably more. It's going to be the $300,000 ballpark for the GTC, I believe they call it. But still, that would be, in the neighborhood. What else? A Maserati, Gran Turismo, Cabriolet, or Spider, whatever they call it. Aston Martin, DB12, Volante, I believe that's what they call it. Will cost a lot more and have a V12. That's a V8. Actually, same engine. What am I talking about? Yeah. And will cost more, but, similar powertrain and actually. So, yeah. So where do you place this one? Well, again, like this and the Bentley kind of, to me, are equals. I would say the Aston, just a little bit punchier and a little bit more desirable and a little bit sexier. Although I do like how this one looks. Again, I would do the paint differently. I would have less Maybach logos. I think, I don't know. I mean, it's like, would I take this over a Turbo S? Well, if I was living the extra Lusso life, absolutely. But what if, I'm going to switch to sport mode here. Okay, now we're in sport mode. A little bit of lag in the transmission, although you can paddle shift it once in sport mode. Shifts just fine. Would I rather have a turbo? Would I rather have a Bentley? I haven't even driven the new Bentley. I don't know. It's in the conversation for sure. This does handle really well. And when you put it in sport, the exhaust wakes up a little bit. Boy, this is tougher than I had imagined. Anyhow, definitely in the conversation. Yeah, to recap it, just a hell of a nice luxury car. I mean, the high fashion thing, Maybach's trying that. And look, they're trying to create a brand out of essentially not much. Like I said, they did do two kind of more bespoke, mechanically bespoke Maybachs. And it just didn't work out. So now they're kind of doing like, all AMGs for the most part, not all, but most AMGs, maybe now all AMG 1s, the Outlier, are based on existing Mercedes platforms. Even the GT63, the Coupe is based on this platform. And, so all Maybachs, for the time being, are based on existing Mercedes platforms, which is fine. This is a totally fine car. If it had its own bespoke platform, it would just cost more and not necessarily be any better. So it's a terrific luxury car. Surprisingly, it does kind of storm the canyons rather well. I guess it comes down to the, would I have one question. I would really have a hard time seeing me owning this car, mostly to do with the Maybach logos. However, if it had different paint, could I see myself owning this car?
You are listening to Sirius XM.
The Mercedes has to get their voice control under control. If it had different paint, could I see myself owning this car? And the answer is even less so. No. And what I realized was when my friends who abhor obnoxious displays of wealth, when they saw this car, they were all aghast. They were horrified by the number of Maybach logos and the blingy bright work and all that. And I sort of, in a trollish way, I really enjoyed their reaction. So if I had to have a Maybach, this Maybach, the SL 680, I think I would get exactly this one. What does it say about me? What does that say about the state of the world? What does that say? I do not know. I do know we have reached the end of this video. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'm having so much fun doing this channel, and I hope you enjoy coming along for the ride for Driving with Jonny. As always, I'm Jonny. Like, share, subscribe, leave comments. More like this, less like this. You want to see blinged up fashion statements, more performance cars. This is both, frankly. I'm still driving and enjoying this thing. I should pull over and cut the mic, but this is a really good section of the road. Anyhow, until next time, I bid thee well. Live long and prosper. I don't know how to end a video. And the Maybach's much better than I thought it would be. Goodbye. See you next time. Catch you on the next episode of Driving with Jonny.